Barnaby Jones, starring Buddy Ebsen. Also starring Lee Merriweather, with guest stars Mariette Hartley, James Luisi, Claudette Nevins. Tonight's episode, Mystery Cycle.
All set?
Yeah. Mr. Yeager, you gonna take those rages again today?
Why not? Boss allowed to play. Let's bust him.
Good morning. Is Ms. Yeager in? I'm Barnaby Jones.
Just 1 minute, please.
I'll be making some changes on the board, but I wouldn't so much as hint, at least not yet.
that I'm thinking of phasing out the motor division.
Mrs. Yeager, Mr. Barnaby Jones to see you?
Yes, I'm expecting him.
Well, I don't think we need worry about the Yeager stocks not showing some strength soon, although it might be best to leak the next quarterly, put the rumors to rest. Mrs. Yeager, please accept our condolences once again. All of us have the highest regard for your husband.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Miss Yeager,
Mr. Jones.
if this is inconvenient, I could come at another time, tomorrow even.
No, it's all right. I prefer getting as many details out of the way as possible. May I offer you something?
No, nothing for me, thanks. This is a lovely place you have here.
Oh, thank you. Why don't we talk outside, get some fresh air?
Fine. Now, I know that California Meridian Insurance has already spoken to you, so I'll try not to cover any old ground.
Perhaps you can tell me exactly what the problem is. Is it the size of the policy?
Well, the double indemnity accidental death clause brings the amount up to $1 million.
Well, if my husband's death wasn't accidental, what are you suggesting, Mr. Jones? A suicide?
No, I'm not suggesting anything, Mrs. Yeager. It's just that the company feels obligated to look rather closely into the accidental death theory. That's the reason they brought me in.
Well, I think you can eliminate suicide as a possibility. My husband was in perfect health, both mentally and physically. No man had a greater zest for living.
You know, it's common knowledge that the Yeager company was in financial trouble lately.
Well, the motor division's been a drain, that's true. So we're considering the possibility of some surgery there. In fact, the reason for that division's existence passed on with Jonathan. It was always more of a hobby with him than a business.
You don't suppose it's possible that Mr. Yeager could have been preoccupied with the problems of the company that morning?
Certainly not while testing a motorcycle. It speeds up to 100 miles an hour.
I realize riders do take spills, but I understand that the trail along the ridge was straight and smooth, and Mr. Yeager had been over it many times in the past.
Well, perhaps what it all boils down to, Mr. Jones, is that it takes just one mistake. And Jonathan made it. Excuse me.
Francis?
Carolyn.
Oh, I wish you'd called or wired or something.
I'm sorry I've been in such a state of shock.
I just happened to see a tiny mention of it in the San Francisco papers.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Mr. Jones, this is my sister, Carolyn Lacey.
How do you do?
Mr. Jones?
I think I'll be leaving now, Mrs. Yeager. If you don't mind, I'll stop by your motor division, maybe talk to some of the men who are with your husband.
That'll be fine. Steve Rollins is in charge there now. He'll give you whatever help you need.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you, Miss Lacey.
I wish you'd called. Can't tell you how awful it was reading about Jonathan's death days after the fact.
I'm sorry, Carolyn. I've had 100 things on my mind.
Sometimes I can't understand you, Francis. How could you forget to notify your own sister?
Half-sister, dear.
Look, I came here because I thought I might be some help, some comfort. Obviously, you don't require that comfort.
Meaning what? That I didn't love Jonathan?
That's always been understood between us. But he was a good man in many ways, Francis. I mean, surely you respected him. Would it be easier for you if I just drove back to San Francisco?
Well, that would hardly look proper now, would it? I'm sure we can manage to stay out of each other's hair for a few days, don't you think?
I just always wish we'd been closer.
It's hardly of any importance now, Carolyn, is it?
Now, as far as you can figure, your position was right there.
Yeah, I'd say a quarter mile to the right of the ridge, just along the lip of the royal.
From each of these 4 positions, none of you fellas saw Mr. Yeager go up on the ridge.
Well, you know, out there testing bikes, it's kind of hard to keep track of anybody. You're too busy trying to handle your own machine.
Joe, you weren't on the left side of me, but ahead and to the right.
No. I hit sand right here and almost flipped into the arroyo. That was to the left of you.
No, I saw you to his right, too. You were wearing a black helmet, right?
Come on, man. I had a mouthful of sand. You're going to tell me that I wasn't to the west of the Arroyos?
You two are both wrong. I can vouch for Joe riding on the left.
No, not on my left.
Well, exactly where did you see me then?
Here, may I?
Sure.
Right here.
Now, how could I be over there when I saw at least two of you guys just to the east of me just minutes before the accident?
Look, old buddy, if you weren't there, you weren't there, but, wasn't you, who was it?
I don't know.
Mr. Jones, did you, get what you came for?
Well, there seems to be a difference of opinion, Mr. Rollins.
That happens. How about getting back to work, fellas?
Thanks, fellas. Say, you mind if I take this?
Not at all. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Well, no, I don't think so. Well, maybe. You might be able to clear up a point. Those tests that you made out there on the desert course, were they a weekly routine thing?
Well, we take the bikes out, we abuse them, we bring them back and rip them apart.
Was Mr. Yeager's participation in the test routine?
You couldn't keep him away. He really loved biking across those ridges.
Well, what about yourself, Mr. Rollins? I understand that you were in charge of all the testing, but you weren't out there that day with the others.
I stopped riding that desert course about 3 months ago. Back trouble.
Well, then it's just the four fellows, Mr. Yeager, and you. You know of anyone else who might have been familiar with the course or had ridden it or knew the routine?
Those 4 men you talked to, they're our only testers. And they've been with us ever since we bought that desert acreage.
Well, thank you very much, and I hope your back gets better.
Thank you.
I must have gone through 6 pounds of financial reports this afternoon.
You know, you're going to have to learn to leave business details to others. You're a very rich lady now. And especially tonight. I don't want you preoccupied with business details. You promise?
I promise.
Wouldn't you think they'd pick a safer spot to test motorcycles?
Eddie, I'm puzzled. I can't understand why the 4 test drivers can't agree on their position just before the accident. Now, 2 of them out there claim that they saw Joe Scully right here. He's wearing a black helmet, and they swear they saw him. Right here. Scully says he was out there. He's backed up by number 4 down there.
That's a discrepancy of over a mile.
And my first instinct was that somebody wasn't telling the truth. But that would be such a clumsy lie. Here's the point of debate. Sometimes the simplest explanations are the most accurate. Now, if those 4 riders are all telling the truth, there must have been another cyclist out here. Mr. X.
Mr. X? Oh, Barnaby. Now, if, as you say, these 2 riders saw him here in this area, well, where was he before that?
Someplace where there wasn't any chance of one of the bikes coming tearing through. Someplace where he could have kept an eye on the others. Let's start over there. Several days old, at least.
Barnaby, couldn't someone have just been resting here?
Through 3 cigarettes, that would take a half hour or more.
What's that?
Oil drippings.
I see.
No tire tracks. Wind took care of that. What we got is a trespasser who sat here long enough to smoke 3 cigarettes and let his machine drip a little oil in the sand.
Well, are you going to be able to fix the time?
If that's our Mr. X, he's got a lot more curiosity than just a trespasser.
John?
Oh, I gotta get my 2 miles in every day or go to bed with a guilty conscience.
Well, would your conscience permit accepting a lift at this point?
If it didn't, it'd be in for an argument.
You get down this way often?
L.A.? I haven't been down for a year or so. Kind of hard to tear me away from that city by the bay.
Pacific Western, huh?
Yeah.
Track, I'll bet.
No records, just lots of fun.
Yeah, that's about the way I went at it. But I did break the 4-minute mile once my junior year at Claiborne College.
You did?
Yep. They had to meet in a county park, a brand new quarter-mile oval. I was quite a hero for about a half an hour until somebody suggested measuring the track. The county commissioner had awarded the contract to his nearsighted nephew. The track was 50 yards short.
Oh, that's delicious. The housekeeper said she hadn't heard from Frances either. Can't imagine where she spent the entire night. Oh, well, she'll probably call or show up soon. Here you are.
Yeah, it looks very good.
I'm the gal who's most efficient in all things which do not matter.
Miss Lacey.
Oh, Carolyn, please. I'm not a women's liver, but the miss at my age is something less than complimentary.
I wouldn't say that. I was just wondering whether you might have some information that Mr. Yeager had trouble with one of his employees lately.
No, I never heard anything like that.
What about his relationship with your sister?
I'm sure Jonathan loved her. As for Frances, I don't think she'll ever change. She wants what she wants, she gets it, she grows tired of it, and goes on to something new. Sounds to me like you suspect something more than an accident.
Well, I can't dismiss that possibility.
Then, in fairness to Jonathan, I must tell you that he had become concerned about something in the last 6 months. He spent a lot of time in San Francisco. We'd sometimes have dinner together. I guess you know that he and I were something more than just friends.
I didn't know that.
A long time ago. Almost 7 years. Oh, I've kind of gotten used to playing second fiddle where Frances is concerned. Even as kids. She always ended up with the nicest toy or be on my father's knee just when I wanted to be. Anyway, Jonathan said that he and Frances were having friction. I think he knew she was having an affair.
Did he mention the man's name?
No. He did say that he thought it might be somebody close to him in the company.
Mr. Jones? May I speak with you for a moment?
Yes, surely. Excuse me.
My attorney tells me that your report to the insurance company is the only thing that's holding up the check.
Yes, I won't be much longer, Mrs. Yeager.
I don't mean to be rude, but your prodding is beginning to make others as well as me nervous.
I have to apologize for that, but I was just telling your sister that your husband's death may not have been accidental.
Mr. Jones, if you're trying to revive that suicide theory...
I never had that theory. You know, Mrs. Yeager, what I suspect but have been unable to prove is that there was another bike rider on the test area that day. He caused your husband's bike to go off the ridge.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That rider was waiting for some time out there, hiding and smoking these cigarettes. You know anyone who smokes brown cigarettes like that?
No, I don't.
Well, thank you very much. Bye.
Francis, where were you last night?
None of your business.
It's true, isn't it? You've been having an affair for some time now. With Steve Rollins?
Exactly what is it that troubles you? Is it being one of the have-nots, or is it something else?
Nothing ever seems to trouble you, does it? Jonathan's been dead for exactly a week.
Perhaps you were right. Perhaps it would be wiser for you to go back to San Francisco. As a matter of fact, why don't you plan on leaving first thing in the morning?
Hi, beautiful.
Mr. Jones thinks Jonathan may have been murdered.
What? Can he prove it?
He says somebody was hiding out at the testing grounds, waiting to send Jonathan crashing off that ridge.
What?
Somebody who smokes the same kind of cigarettes you do. Where did you go that day, Steve, after you left me?
Biking along the coast, testing a new needle valve. Hey, wait a minute, honey. These cigarettes are found all over town. Besides, how long do you have to know me? Don't you know me well enough?
I'm sorry, darling. I just felt sick when I saw those cigarettes.
You know what I think? Friend Jones is just trying to convince the insurance company that he's worth the fee. Wrong theory, gentlemen, but I was in there pitching. You know what I mean? Good days ahead, honey.
Evening, Pete. Mr. Rollins around? I don't know if he's gone home or not. You might look back by his desk there, though.
Thanks, I'll try there. Mr. Rollins?
that be all, Mrs. Yeager?
Yes, that's fine for tonight. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Steve? Steve, are you here? Who's there? You home?
Please. No. Carolyn. Carolyn!
How does it feel to be on the short end for a change, Francis?
Please, please, please.
I've got to tell you how it feels to be on the winning side for the first time. Delicious.
What can you gain by killing me?
Money? All that money that should have been mine 7 years ago.
No, no!
Morning, Mr. Rollins.
Morning.
Called your apartment several times last night, but you weren't in.
I was out riding. What did you want?
You know, watching the way those cycles bounce around out there, you'd think they'd all come in total wrecks.
It's the whole point behind it.
You have special equipment on each bike? I notice the oil has a kind of a special tint.
We use synthetic oil with a vegetable base. We're just experimenting with one of our refinery products.
All the bikes use the same kind of oil?
Yes, Mr. Jones, you're not interested in vegetable oils. Let's get to the point. Like, what kind of cigarettes do I smoke?
Well, I think that we can charge that down to coincidence as long as you can explain and account for your time during the day that Mr. Yeager was killed.
I was testing this bike along the coast. Next.
All day?
You got it.
You didn't even stop anywhere for gasoline?
All right, all right. I was with a woman part of the day. And you're not getting her name.
Would it be the same woman who said she didn't recognize the kind of cigarette you smoke?
Goodbye, Mr. Jones.
Oops, sorry. That's clumsy of me.
I'll clean it. Just let it be.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Rollins, do you own more than one bike?
I own 2 bikes. I mean, I did own 2 bikes. One was stolen a few months ago. Why?
Just curiosity. Sorry about the oil. That was a close one. I should have been watching.
Oh, it was my fault. Maybe I should stick to jogging, huh? You looking for Frances?
Yes, I was hoping to talk to her.
Don't think she's home yet. Mr. Jones, there's something very peculiar going on.
Like what?
I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I think I can name the man that Frances has been seeing. At least I saw them together one night, and the relationship was more than friendly. Steve Rollins?
Yes, I've met him.
Well, it didn't take much imagination to know she was expecting him last night.
What makes you say that?
Oh, about 7 o'clock, she asked me what I was planning to do that evening. I said nothing. She suggested that I take in a movie at the Village. I took the hint and got home at about midnight. But she was gone. I don't know. It's just all very strange.
Miss Lacey! The police just called. On the beach. Mrs. Yeager. Oh, God.
Miss, no, it's better if you wait up here, Miss. No, please, wait right over here. There's nothing you can do. Please.
Mr. Jones, I can't believe it.
From the looks of things, I'd say it happened sometime last night, but I'll wait for the coroner's report.
That's a pretty dangerous curve, but that lady has lived in this neighborhood for years.
What happened? What happened? Frances? How'd it happen?
You a friend of Mrs. Yeager's?
Friend? A friend? I'm her husband. We were married 2 days ago.
Didn't find anything over there. Let's take a look over here.
I'm getting tired of hearing about those cigarettes.
Mr. Rollins, let me tell you again that you don't have to answer my questions at all.
I didn't say I wouldn't cooperate. But those cigarette stubs that Jones found, they could have belonged to anybody.
All right, let's get back to this secret marriage.
Francis wanted it that way. We were going to have a church ceremony after a reasonable amount of time.
You and Mrs. Yeager, before Mr. Yeager's death.
She was ready to ask for a divorce.
Barnaby, what time did you say you made those phone calls to Mr. Rollins' apartment?
Between 8 and 10 o'clock that evening.
I got back around 11 o'clock.
But you can't account for the time except for saying that you were out somewhere riding a bike.
That's right. I set Thursday evenings aside so I could night test the bike we've been modifying for the past 4 months. I sent those reports to our Dayton engineers every Friday morning. Now you can check the company records.
In other words, you just take any Thursday night at random and you're simply out somewhere riding a motorcycle along a highway.
That's right, that's right.
Well, now, didn't you tell Mr. Jones that a back injury prevents you from riding?
Only on the desert course, I believe, is the way Mr. Rollins put it.
I don't have a problem with a normal run.
Now, let's get back to the day Jonathan Yeager was killed.
I was with Francis.
Can you verify it?
No, we were alone.
Found it in the garden, Lieutenant. Appears to be blood-stained and has the initial R on it.
Did you say R?
That's right.
We'll get it to the lab and have them check it for latent prints.
Of course there's going to be prints on it. That's mine. Don't you see there's my mark on it? It's been taken from my house. Don't you see I'm being framed? I'm not saying anything from here on. My lawyer will do the talking for me.
That was quite a dessert. I admire your appetite.
It's something I inherited. I think I could just gorge myself on all kinds of goodies and not gain an ounce.
You know, Carolyn, I'm glad to see that you're not too disappointed that Steve Rollins could be in control of the Yeager Company now. Except for the fact that he married Francis, that would all be yours. Unless, of course, he is convicted of murder.
Mr. Jones, I can't give a thought to what I might have gained. That old conscience of mine keeps telling me what's not freely given does not belong to me.
It's a pretty good philosophy to live by.
Besides, Steve may be perfectly innocent. I mean, why would he leave so many obvious clues behind?
Well, one explanation could be that intelligent people do not commit murder. Oh, they may be clever, but they mistake their cleverness for intelligence, forgetting that they're not allowed one mistake, not one error, forgetting that they have to shut out the other side completely. A lopsided score is just not good enough.
If Steve is guilty, if he made so many mistakes, he might still have that other bike somewhere.
Wherever it is, it would have to be proven that he was the only person who had access to that particular place. You ready? Yeah, looks like Steve Rollins is home scot-free. The first thing he would do would be to get rid of that... Wait a minute. Why would he get rid of it? He didn't know till after he was arrested that we could match the oil samples from the drippings of the bike.
I've got a thought. This affair between Steve and Francis has been going on for some time. I mean, where would they have been meeting?
Yeah, I see what you mean. They couldn't use his apartment. His bike riders might come charging in any moment.
And I can't imagine Francis going in and out of motels.
Yeah, hideaway? Yeah, he could have kept the other motorcycle there. Sure something to think about.
That'd be like finding the proverbial needle in the haystack, right? Thanks for everything.
Give my love to San Francisco.
I will. Bye-bye.
You'll be needing a lift back. Thought I'd save you the trouble of calling a cab from the highway.
When'd you learn about the house?
Yesterday, telephone number's in your sister's address book.
You're right, Mr. Jones. Got to be a game. I forgot no errors allowed. Mind if I sit a minute? Did you know it was me all along?
Not until they found that wrench in the garden. After that, Lieutenant Biddle and I decided not to look at convenient clues and just start looking for the one who would profit most.
It's as simple as that, huh?
Not quite. Remember the day you were riding your bike and we almost ran into each other? I couldn't get that out of my mind all day. The way you handle your bike like you were born on one. We checked the dirt motorcycle tracks in San Francisco. They knew Carolyn Lacey. The one who always rented the highest powered motorcycle and drove like a fanatic. One track owner said like she was training for the race of her life.
That bit of play acting you did in your office, huh? You must feel pretty smug about it all, huh?
No, as a matter of fact, I feel pretty sad about it all.
Barnaby Jones, a Quinn Martin production, starring Buddy Ebsen. Also starring Lee Merriweather, Mark Shera, with guest stars Diane Baker, Alan Fudge, Michael Ebert. Tonight's episode, The Wife Beater.
Hello. Betty? Pat, I'm sorry to call you so late, but I need your help.
What's wrong, honey?
It's Glenn.
Is he drinking again?
Yes. I've never seen him this bad before. I'm afraid he's going to kill me.
Pat, I want you to hang up. I'm going to call the police.
No, Betty, please. Please, just come over here. I'm sure that once you're here, you'll be fine.
But for how long, honey? Until I leave? Pat, you've got to do something.
Who are you talking to? Get off the phone!
Betty, please!
I said get off the phone!
Please don't.
Pat? It's Betty. Pat? Pat? Are you in there? Glenn? You don't know what I was just thinking.
I was in the bathroom and I didn't hear you come in.
Honey, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Glenn passed out just after I talked to you. I tried to call you back, but you'd already left.
Come on, let's find your suitcase and I'll help you put some things together.
What for?
You don't think I'm going to let you stay here alone with him, do you? You're going to stay with me.
That's sweet of you, Betty, but everything's all right now.
All right? A few minutes ago, you thought he was going to kill you.
That's because he was drunk. By tomorrow morning, he'll have forgotten all about it.
Honey, he has no right to abuse you. Pat, will you look at your face?
I have looked at it, Betty, and I'm sorry you had to see me this way.
You have to do something.
What, Betty? Just walk out on him like he didn't exist. Every day is another disappointment for him. And he just doesn't know what to do about it. I know you're only trying to help me, but I just can't walk out on him. I can't let him wake up and not find me here.
I guess I can't force you to come with him. But you gotta promise me that you're gonna see me tomorrow. We'll have lunch. Maybe we can figure something out.
I'd like that. Thank you for caring.
Maybe it's none of my business, but from what Betty told me, maybe ought to do something about your situation.
Mr. Jones, it really isn't that serious. Betty is exaggerating.
Those dark glasses you're wearing, hiding Betty's exaggeration?
Well, he just hit me, that's all. He lost his temper.
Pat, last night when you called me, you were terrified. If he hadn't passed out, who knows what he might have done?
That won't happen again, Betty.
How can you say that? He's not going to stop drinking. And every time he gets drunk, he beats you.
Is that true, Pat?
Yes. That's true, and I don't know what to do about it.
Betty tells me that you won't call the police.
Do you know what a humiliation that would be for him? He's a sensitive man, not some common criminal.
What about a marriage counselor?
Glenn believes family problems should be kept inside the home.
Maybe you ought to worry about yourself a little more instead of Glenn. No matter how much you love him, a man who beats his wife is obviously disturbed.
I know.
Maybe you ought to get professional help before it's too late.
I wouldn't even know who to go to.
Well, I have a friend, Dr. Dover. He's a psychologist. He specializes in marriage problems. Betty could give you his number if you call the office.
All right, I'll talk to Glenn about going. No, I'm going to make him go if I have to drag him there myself.
as a start. I guess I better start to get the check, which is probably the reason I was invited along in the first place.
Hi, Pat.
Oh, David. Betty, you remember my boss, David Conrad?
Sure.
Certainly do.
Hi.
Betty's father-in-law, Barnaby Jones.
Oh.
How do you do, sir?
Good to meet you.
You can put away the whip. I was just going back to the office.
Oh, no, take your time.
How's that for training a boss?
You want to tell me your secret?
Oh, we really were just finished. Thank you very much, Mr. Jones.
Good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's very nice meeting you, Mr. Jones.
Very happy to meet you, sir.
Bye.
Oh, I hope she can get Glenn to go.
Yeah. Betty, when I was much younger, I once tried to separate two brothers who were fighting. You know what happened? They both turned against me.
Is that your way of telling me not to get involved?
No. Just be careful.
By the way, Glenn called right after you left the office.
Did he say what he wanted?
No, he just asked if I knew where you were having lunch. I told him I didn't, but I don't think he believed me.
Why do you say that?
Oh, it's just something in his voice. I think he suspected that you and I were having lunch together.
Poor Glenn. He always makes everything so complicated. Well, I've decided we're going to see a marriage counselor.
Oh, really? Pat, if you want any time off, you know you've got it.
Thanks, David.
You know, I still say that some men have got all the luck. If you were my wife, Pat, I'd... Well, what's the use of talking about it? You know what I mean. What's that for?
For making things so much easier.
Sure.
Come on.
Mr. Halston, according to a conversation I had with your wife earlier, she describes your marriage as a little more than bumpy.
Really? What did you say, Pat?
Just that we argued. Sometimes you got drunk and hit me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is true. It's all true. I throw myself on the mercy of the court.
This isn't a court, Mr. Halston. You know that.
I should at least have the opportunity to defend myself. Pat, how many years have we been married?
Almost 10.
And in those years, have you been happy?
You know I have.
And how many times have I hit you?
I don't know. Not many.
Well, then what are we talking about? Doctor, my old man was a violinist. I don't mean professionally. He wanted to be. Maybe he wasn't good enough. I don't know. So instead, he sold hardware, hammers, nails, things like that. And sometimes when it would get to be too much for him, he would go out and have a few drinks, and he would come home drunk, and he would hit my mother. But not out of hate, out of love. And she understood this. She knew it was the only way that he could ease that pain. And so she loved him. In spite of what he did to her, she loved him until the day he died. Can you understand that, Doctor?
You are an engineer, aren't you, Mr. Halston?
I was. I sell I sell real estate now. It's the same thing, only bigger.
And why did you give up engineering?
The firm I was with was hit by the recession. I was one of many they laid off.
I'd like to see you both twice a week in the beginning.
Twice a week? Where am I going to get the time?
Glenn, you promised me.
That's right. I swore I would try.
be getting back to you, Doctor. Mrs. Halston, for your own sake, see that he gets help. If he doesn't like me, go to someone else, but go to someone.
I'm not sure I understand.
Your husband's a very disturbed man, Mrs. Halston. Take my word for it. He's a bomb waiting to explode. And here it is. The only bridge ever to span a relish tray. Stress factor, 1 green olive.
That's fantastic. Someday you'll be building the real thing instead of sticks and chewing gum.
Well, after all, a fellow who won, let's see, 2 student engineering awards in his junior year.
You remember that, Betty?
Remember it? I covered this story for the college paper.
Well, that was a long time ago. But I haven't given up yet. Just give me time.
And, yes, speaking of time, I've got to be up at the crack of dawn tomorrow.
Sure you won't stay and eat something with us, Betty?
Oh, no, thanks. Listen, it's your night to be together. But thank you for the wine. Good night.
Good night.
I think we'd better order something before it's too late.
Hey, beautiful. Don't worry. I told you from now on, 1 is my limit. Well, look who's here. David! David, come join us.
Oh, Glenn? Hi, Pat.
Sit down, sit down. What are you drinking?
This is it. I gotta get back to work.
What, at this hour?
Well, I've just been catching up on a few things, and I just thought I'd take a little break.
Well, that is what I call dedication. And I guess that's what it takes to stay on top.
In my company, that's what it takes to keep your job.
I guess that's why women find you so attractive. Now, don't be modest, David. They love winners. You are a winner. Now, take Pat here.
Glenn.
I don't think a day goes by that she doesn't tell me how successful you are.
Glenn, that's not true.
But does she ever tell you about me, David? I mean, why I'm selling houses instead of building bridges? Now that is interesting.
Glenn, maybe some other time.
No, it won't take long. You see, I could have gone on to graduate school, but then something unexpected came up. Right, Pat?
Glenn.
Pat, I'll see you tomorrow in the office. Good night, Glenn.
Why do you always have to spoil everything?
Spoil? Just because I wanted to tell him why I couldn't finish my education? Well, I thought since you two were so close.
We're not close. I'm his friend. I work for him.
Work? Is that what you call it? Hey, you know what? I need another drink.
If you have another drink, I'm leaving.
Waiter, double martini on the rocks.
Glenn, please, let's go.
You're not going anywhere.
And people are looking.
Let them look. I want to hear about you and David. Pat?
Pat? Pat!
It won't take me long to pack some things.
Listen, why don't we go with you?
Okay. Glenn? He must still be sleeping. Glenn? What's wrong? My wedding dress? Could he hate me so much?
Doesn't look like he's here.
I'll help you pack. Hello? What? Oh, my God. Yes, I'll be right there.
What's wrong?
David. He's been murdered.
That's all you can tell me, Lieutenant?
That's all there is to tell. You handling this for the insurance company you work for?
Oh, you might say I'm working for Betty on this one. It's personal.
Barnaby, there's nothing personal about murder. You've got something I don't want you holding out on me.
Well, everything that I got would come under the heading of suspicion. If you get some proof, you'll be the first to know.
Betty? JR? See you later.
Well, Barnaby, what'd you find out?
They think he was murdered by a mugger who waited for him outside of his office last night.
A mugger?
His wallet was gone, his watch, his college ring. I know what you're thinking, Pat, but there's not the slightest bit of evidence that connects Glenn to this.
I only hope that you're right.
Where is Glenn?
He should be at work.
Where's work?
Coronet Real Estate Company.
Jedediah and I'll have a talk with him.
I better go upstairs. The office will be in a madhouse. I'll call you later. Glenn!
I've got to talk to you, Pat. I want to apologize about last night. What I did to your wedding dress.
Wedding dress? Don't you know what happened to David last night?
Pat, you don't think I had anything to do with that? Oh, come on. Pat, how long have you known me?
Not very long. Not the way you've become.
Honestly think I could kill someone?
But I don't know what to believe anymore. All I know is that I've just got to get away from you for a while. I've got to have time to think.
Where will you go?
I'm staying at Betty's.
Honey, if that's what you want, that's fine with me. Just so you know that I love you.
Glenn, please, not now.
Maybe you'd like to see something else, huh?
Morning.
Morning.
Well, I can see this is just the house you're looking for.
This is the house, all right, but we're looking for the salesman, Glenn Halston. They told us at the real estate office that we'd find him here.
Well, they told you wrong. He was supposed to be here almost 2 hours ago. I'm Sid Markham. Glenn works for me. What did you want to see him about?
I'm afraid this is personal, Mr. Markham.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Why not? It's only on my time. Here comes His Majesty now. Where have you been?
Sid, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Sorry he doesn't sell houses. You had 3 prospective buyers lined up for this morning. You missed all of them.
I'll call them all back, Sid. I'll set up new appointments.
Yeah, you do that. And before you take off tonight, I want to see you in my office.
I'll be there. Mr. Jones, right? Betty's father-in-law? I met you at a 4th of July picnic a couple of years ago.
Got a terrific memory. This is my associate, Jedediah Jones.
What can I do for you?
Did you know that David Conrad was murdered last night?
I heard something about that on the radio. I figured I'd be a suspect sooner or later, but I didn't kill him.
Well, according to the police, the murder took place at about 10 o'clock. Where were you at that time?
Trying to forget where I was at that time.
Unless you have a pretty good alibi, I'm going to have to tell the police how you felt about Conrad.
Have you ever heard of a place called Mully's Bar?
How long were you there?
About an hour. And then I went to the Red Sail, and then to a place called the Sombrero. We used to refer to that as bar hopping.
How did you bruise your hand?
I don't know. I must have banged against something.
Sure it wasn't Conrad?
I told you I didn't kill him.
And you won't mind if we check out those bars you were in last night?
No. Why should I?
No reason. No reason at all.
Do you remember when you took this, Betty? No. Palm Springs. We were happy then. Well, at this hour, that could only be Barnaby. Or Robert Redford. Yes, who is it?
Betty, it's Glenn. I'd like to talk to Pat.
Well, I'm sorry, Glenn. Pat's resting.
I won't stay long.
Glenn, it's no use.
It's important.
Betty. It's all right. What is it, Glenn?
I just had to talk to you. See, I haven't had a drink. I'm not drunk.
I know, but...
It just got so lonely at home without you. I tried not thinking about it, but how do you not think about somebody you love?
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Just let me in just for a second, honey. Please, now, don't close the door on me.
If you don't leave, Glenn, I'm going to call the police.
I have to talk to you, Pat.
Glenn!
Pat, you've got to listen to me. I'm no stranger. I'm your husband. You're my wife.
I'm afraid of you.
There's no reason to be anymore. Honey, I know what's going to save our marriage. It's not staying apart. It's getting together again.
It's too late.
Pat, let's have a baby.
A baby?
We always talked about it. I was just afraid of the responsibility. But, honey, I'm not afraid anymore.
Do you know what having a baby means? Do you have any idea?
It means we'd be a real family. We'd have someone to care about, someone to love. Something that was a part of the two of us.
It's not that easy.
I'm not saying it's that easy. I'm saying we could handle it. Honey, we love each other. That's half the battle.
Glenn.
Honey, we got all these years invested. They're happy years. You said so yourself. We've got to give it just one more chance.
All right. Oh, Pat. I've got to, Betty. Don't you see that I have to? That's it. Once she agreed to go home with him, he was fine.
A regular Jekyll Hyde.
Hello, Glenn Halston. Anybody in?
Speak of the devil.
Come in.
Hi. I'm sorry to bust in this way. I just wanted to apologize to you for last night. I've already talked to the manager of your place, and he says he will fix the door and send me the bill.
Thank you.
I also wanted to apologize to you, Mr. Jones, for the trouble I've caused you. But everything's going to be different now. I've taken the pledge. I'm not going to drink anymore. Also, Pat and I are going to start seeing that marriage counselor twice a week.
Well, that's very nice. I'm glad to hear that. However, there is one problem, Glenn.
What's that?
Those bars that you said you were in the other night, we checked them out and only found one bartender at the Sombrero who remembers seeing you. He said you came in around 12 o'clock. Conrad was murdered a couple hours earlier.
Well, you know what they say. After the third drink, all bars look alike.
I don't think you fully realize the seriousness of your situation. I can't continue to withhold information from the police. Sooner or later, they're going to find out how you felt about Conrad. And where were you between 10 and 12?
I honestly don't remember, Mr. Jones. Man, when I tie one on, I really do a job. But that's all in the past. All I want to do now is to make Pat happy. I'm even planning on taking her to Hawaii for our anniversary.
She'd like that.
See, my company is giving free tickets to whoever makes the most sales over the next 2 months. You are looking at the future winner. Well, I better get started. See y'all.
You know, Barnaby, I really want to believe him.
You sounded very convincing.
Come on, he's a salesman, remember?
You got a point, Jedediah. Now, while I continue checking out the bars, I want you and Betty to check out the building which Conrad had his office. See if you can find anyone who might have seen Glenn there about the time of the murder.
I was just about to suggest the same thing myself.
I know. Sid wants to see me. Oh, is it true he had open heart surgery and they found he didn't have one? Sid, contact your travel agent. Have him fill the names in on these Hawaii tickets to Mr. and Mrs. Glenn Halston. They are first class, aren't they?
I told you I wanted to see you before you took off last night.
Yeah, I know. I had some business I had to attend to. It's personal. You can understand that, can't you, Sid?
Sure. Why not? I mean, I'm human like everybody else, right? I got a wife, 3 kids. I even got a dog. You know what else I got, Glenn? High blood pressure, ulcers, and my doctor tells me I'm working on a coronary. You know what he prescribes? He says I should get rid of all my aggravations. And you, Glenn, are one of my biggest.
I know I let you down lately, Sid. It's just, well, I've been under these pressures. We're not machines, Sid. We all break down. All of us. But it's going to be different from now on. I'm going to sell more houses than anybody out there.
Not for me, you're not. You're through.
Hey, come on, Sid. You don't mean through.
What did you think? I was going to make you sales manager? Glenn, you know what your trouble is? You're a boozer. You drink too much, and everybody knows it. You're not only through here, you're washed up all over town.
I'm not going to drink anymore, Sid. I give you my word.
It's too late for that.
Hey, come on, Sid. You gotta give me just one more chance. Please. Just give me one more chance. I promised my wife.
I'm sorry, Glenn. I got a business to run here. Look, I got a lot of work to do, and why don't you clean out your desk?
Yeah. I don't want to leave anything behind.
Hi, any luck?
Only that my feet haven't given up. I stopped in to see Pat.
How is she?
Well, she's fine. She's looking forward to going to that marriage counselor tonight.
That's good.
I've never seen him around here before. Think he had something to do with the burglary?
What burglary?
What burglary? I thought that was why you're here. Someone broke into my shop night before last and stole a dozen of my best cameras.
The night of the murder?
That's right. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a connection somewhere.
And you reported this to the police?
Yeah, about an hour ago.
Why'd you wait so long?
Because I just found out about it. See, when I found the cameras missing, I thought my partner had taken them on the road with him to sell. When he got back this morning, I found out he hadn't touched them. That's when I realized what happened. Just made a copy of the serial numbers to give to the police.
Mr. Keller, do you mind if we borrow one of these?
If it'll help get my cameras back, be my guest.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Honey, I'm home. I've got a surprise for you tonight. After we come back from the counselor, I'm going to fix you your favorite dinner. Then we're going to put on some records. And I'll light those pretty candles that I bought. I guess it isn't any surprise anymore, is it? But it'll be like when we were first married. Glenn? Glenn, you all right?
Oh. I got canned today.
What?
You heard me. I got fired.
Oh, no. Why?
Because of you?
Me?
That's right. First I blamed myself. Then I realized, if you hadn't caused me all those problems, Pat, threatening to leave me, then I could have concentrated on my job and done better work.
You know, that's not true.
Hey, Dad! You have been the source of all of my problems. I could have gone to graduate school. I could be a good engineer now if you hadn't tricked me into marrying you.
Tricked you?
That's right. By telling me you were pregnant.
But I was pregnant.
Oh, well, then what happened?
What happened? I had a miscarriage.
You think I believe that, Pat?
Believe it? What are you talking about?
I know that you made that all up so that I would make it all legal.
Oh, my God. Oh.
I've known it all along. The pregnancy, the miscarriage, it was all a lie. A trick.
You poor sick man.
Oh, no. I have had an albatross around my neck. I'm gonna get rid of it. Now!
Stay away from me, and I mean it. You're never going to touch me again. Never.
Pat.
No! I'm leaving you for good. I'm getting a divorce.
I see. Well, you have all the serial numbers of the cameras. If one of them does come in, I'd appreciate a call. Thank you very much.
You're right, it's a 35 millimeter f2.8. Yeah, serial number is 31792G. Okay. Well, you can call us here anytime.
Mr. Harrington, Four-Star Loan Company. You took in 8 cameras in the last 2 days, not one of them from the Keller burglary.
Are there any more pawn shops we haven't called yet?
No, that was the last one. But if you ask me, we are wasting our time.
You don't think there's any connection between the burglary and Conrad's murder?
To tell you the truth, I don't know what I think, Barnaby. It's been a long day, and I am really tired. What I'd like to do is go home, take a nice hot bath, and get a good night's sleep. So if you fellas don't mind turning off the lights when you leave. You will let me know if anything happens.
Even if it means waking you from your long night's sleep?
Just you try not waking me.
I think she wants us to wake her. Barnaby Jones.
Mr. Jones, this is Lou Sampson at Esquire Loans.
Yes, Mr. Sampson.
Those cameras you were asking about. Some guy just walked in here with one of them.
He's still there?
Yeah.
We're on our way.
Pat? What's wrong? What happened?
Glenn was drunk when I came home. Betty, you were right. I've got to leave him for good. I just came by to pick up my things.
Oh, you're welcome to stay here. You know that.
No, I know, but this will be the first place he'll look, and you know how he can be. Look, I've got to find a hotel somewhere. Maybe the Marina.
All right. I'll better call first, see if we can get a reservation.
That's a 13528.
Well, how much?
I could give you $35 on it.
What are you kidding? That camera's brand new. It's worth $300-400.
Yeah, well, maybe to a photographer, but not to a pawnbroker. Now, you want the money or don't you?
45. Is that gonna kill you?
$40, take it or leave it.
All right. 40.
Okay. Here. Now, you fill this out, okay?
Hey, come on, the money, huh?
It's in the back. I gotta get it. I was just closing. You just finished filling that out.
Hurry up.
That's your camera? Hold it. Right there.
Looks like David Conrad's ring, Barnaby. It's got initials DC in here.
Maybe you better call the police.
Yeah, all right.
Phone's in there.
Thanks.
Really, I appreciate it, but you don't have to go with me.
I want to make sure you're checked into your room nice and safe. We got everything? Okay.
Where are you running to now, Pat?
She just needs a little time by herself, Glenn, that's all.
I told you weren't gonna leave. Never again!
I didn't mean to kill him, but he saw me, so I had to hit him.
Get him out of here. I hope this straightens out that personal problem for you, Barnaby.
It's gonna make some people feel a lot better. Thanks, Lieutenant.
See you around.
Barnaby, there's still no answer to Betty's.
Did you try Pat's?
That's what worries me. There's no answer there either.
Let's get right over to Betty's.
told you weren't gonna leave me, Pat. Never again.
Oh, Glenn. You're not going to do anything.
Get out of the way, Betty.
And she loves you. Why are you doing this?
She knows. She made me a failure.
Glenn, that's not true. The failure was your doing, and it's time you faced it.
No. I could have been building bridges now. I could have been anything.
Glenn, that's a lie. You know it.
Get out of the way, Betty. I'm warning you.
Please. I'll go with him. Anything. You had your chance in school, and you blew it. Stop blaming Pat for that.
I had to marry her. That's why I quit.
Oh, no, I was there, remember? You had to quit because you couldn't make the grades.
Oh, I won 2 awards. My junior year.
And after that, what happened? All right, maybe the competition got too stiff, or maybe you couldn't hack it, but you quit because you couldn't get the grades. You can't blame Pat for that.
What?
Oh, face the truth, Glenn. For the first time in your life, face it. Stop blaming Pat for what you are.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry I'm late.
Well, it's all right. We just got here ourselves.
Here, let me help you.
Thanks, J.R.
Oh, did you see Glenn?
Yes. They have this small lake out there. We took a walk by it.
How is he?
Relaxed, thoughtful.
How long did the doctor say he'd have to be there?
6 months, a year, maybe. Who knows?
Pat, when he gets out, are you going back to him?
I don't know. I guess a lot of it depends on him. And time. I just don't know.
Well, why don't we order?
Now, listen, Barnaby, I really don't have too much of an appetite.
Too bad, Jedediah. It's my check.
Your check?
That's right.
I'll start with some soup, maybe have a salad later on. Hey, the lasagna here is really terrific. The ravioli. Maybe have a lasagna in the ravioli.